Hello. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at on-demand stock takes as part of the stock take feature within Mintsoft. We'll have a look at where to find them and how to set them up. How to process them will be seen in a different video. First, you'll need to go to the stock take overview. For context, an on-demand stock take is a stock take where you create the range of products and locations that you want to check on demand so that it's a one-off stock take count. You can find the list of stock takes here on the stock take overview, and you can filter by the type to on demand or cycle count. We'll cover cycle counts in a different video. When you're looking at on-demand stock takes, you can see the list here based on the client that the stock take relates to, the warehouse, the reference, whether it's in progress or new or complete. You can see the type as well, whether it's on demand. And we'll cover what open and blind means more when we look at creating one in a bit. You can also see the progress, the range of products and locations that are being counted, how many users are counting it, whether it's assigned to multiple users or just a single one. And then on the right hand side there are buttons as well. The I button here is to view the configuration of the stock take, and if it shows a pencil it means you can still edit it. And this will be different depending on if it's a new stock take, which you can still edit, or if it's an in-progress stock take where it's too late to make changes because it's already begun, but you could still view the configuration if you needed to. We have a blue button here that brings up details of the products that have been counted in that stock take already. There's some information at the top which is quite useful, followed by a table showing the products, the locations, the attributes as well, and this includes any best before dates, batch numbers and serial numbers. There are 5 columns showing different details about the first count on the stock take, so this is when a user counts those items in the warehouse. And then there are 5 columns for the second count, if second counts are required as part of the setup. This screen actually updates live. You can see there's a live icon at the top here. So if you were watching this as a manager or a team leader, while your colleagues are performing the stock take, this will update in front of you and you can actually track the progress in real time. There's a bulk export button as well if you need to look at it in Excel in more detail. Back on the stock take overview, there's a button here to reset a stock take. So if for some reason you think everything's gone wrong in the stock take, you can start from the beginning again, and you can also delete the stock take as well. Now all of this is role controlled via the warehouse user accounts page up in the settings, just like any other feature within Mintsoft. So to create an on-demand stock take, you would go to New Stock Take at the top. And this is where you can choose what exactly is going to be counted as part of the stock take. So you can choose the client. This is if you're a 3PL, or if you're a multi-channel, you will just see yourself as a client. But I could select here Will's Fitness Goods, for example. I would then select the warehouse where this stock take needs to take place. And you'll notice as well that the location and range and the product range over here, it's unavailable for making selections until you've chosen your client and warehouse combination. You can then also choose whether you're including empty locations or not. Now you can't do that if the location range is set to all, because it means that every single location in your warehouse, whether there's products in it or not, is going to be included, which is just too big of a range in most cases. So you could then set something on your location range which would allow this to work. So for example, if I go to configurable, I can then decide to include empty locations, and I could still leave it as all in the range there, but the chances are I'll then be focusing on a range of aisles or something else. So we'll come back to that in just a moment. Next, on the left hand side, you can allow unexpected counts of other clients' stock. Now this is a feature more for 3PLs because you might be doing a stock take for one particular client and you might not want other products from different clients to show on that stock take in case you need to show that reporting to your clients. So you might choose to not allow that, which is fine. It just means that users would have to manually adjust stock outside of the stock take if they find something unexpected. Okay. Then you can choose whether you're counting or a range of units that you're counting. So if you were to put, for example, units between 0 and 100, if there was a product that had 200 units of stock in a location, it would not be included in this stock take. So you can, for example, focus on locations where items are running out or locations where you've got lots and lots of stock. You can make that choice. The counting style is whether you are going to do a blind count or an open count. So if it's a blind count, the user on the mobile app cannot see the number of items in that location that they are expecting. Whereas if you select an open count, the user is told on screen, for example, there are 10 units in this location, and they would see the number 10. And yeah, depending on your preferences as an administrator, you may or may not be happy for your colleagues to see that number in advance. So the choice there is yours. Next, we have a toggle to require a second count if discrepancy is found. So if you put no, and let's say there are 10 units in the location and your colleague counts and there's only 9, by having a second count not required, the system can then update the stock immediately down to 9 units based on that person counting. But if you leave this as yes, then what will happen is a second count, which is a separate process, is created, and a different colleague has to perform that second count to validate the discrepancy. Okay, it's very important to know that it's a different colleague that has to do that, so one person cannot count the same line twice, and there are different roles for that. So if you have approved colleagues that you trust perhaps a little bit more to do those second counts to validate, there is a separate role just for that in the warehouse user permissions. Next, you can choose who it's assigned to. So if you put all multi, it means that multiple people can join this stock take at the same time, and the system cleverly distributes those people across different locations so that they're not overlapping each other. You can also select all single, which means just one person can enter the stock take at a time. Or if you put specific, you get a new box to drop down, and you could select a specific user and only that person could do the stock take. But for larger stock takes, we'd probably recommend that you would go all multi and get more people involved. Next, you can put a reference, so we could put stock take test, for example, and this is just the reference of the stock take once it's created. So moving on, we have the range settings. Now, currently it says that I would be counting all locations and all products, and if I click save, that is exactly what would happen. But you might want to separate the range into multiple stock takes to make it more manageable. So you could go to location range and you could choose configurable. As we saw a moment ago, you could then choose location types. So for example, you might have all these different location types on Mintsoft, but in this instance, you only want to do a stock take of your picking locations, or you might also want to include your bulk locations. It's important to know as well if you have tote locations, or goods in locations, goods out, anything like that that you don't want to be included in the stock take. There's not currently an exclude option, so you would then probably want to include everything but those ones that you want to exclude. Okay, so for now I'll leave it as pick and bulk locations. Then we can choose the zone in the warehouse. So we have main and not main, but you may have something different to that, like zone 1, zone 2, mezzanine, freezer storage, whatever it needs to be. Then you can choose aisles to count between, so all aisles, or you might choose the A to Z range and do a stock take between aisles A and aisles D. Okay, and then maybe a future stock take would be from aisle E onwards. Then you have the product range, and you have configurable there as well. And it's very similar here. You could do categories of products, so for example, bars or fitness category. Then you have SKUs, so you could include all products, or you could do an A to Z range of SKUs. So for example, you might want to start between the A SKUs through to the K SKUs for this stock take, for example. You then also have the unit sales value. So if you have the prices set up on your products, you might want to set a minimum and maximum range. For example, if I wanted to do a high value stock take of very expensive items, I could put from £500 up to 9999. And then it would only include the high value items in this stock take. We've also then got a very clever feature here, the sales velocity. So you could put here to only include fast movers or slow movers in this stock take. So for example, let's say you've got a run of products, it's your peak season and they're moving very quickly. You could say, I want to include items in this stock take where we've sold a minimum of say 50 units in the past 7 days, and then only those fast movers would be included. There's also an option to choose whether you are including products with serial numbers or not, as you would have to validate those one at a time per unit, which can be quite time consuming, so you might want to include them. And you can choose only products with serial numbers, only products without serial numbers, or all to do a combination of all, because you might want to separate them into multiple different stock takes. We are looking at features in the future to improve the speed of that, but for now it's one serial per unit as you count, and yeah, it can take a little bit of time. Now, something I've not shown you yet, on the location ranges, you can choose a custom list for your locations, and you could also choose a custom list for your products. Okay, now I'll cover that in a separate video, but the short version is that you can go to StockTake Extras, and you could upload your own custom range. So the examples here don't have the best titles, but you might put like a high value list of SKUs, or fragile SKUs, or something like that. For locations, for example, you might do a separate hard to reach area or quarantine zones, something to separate that you can't separate by choosing the configurable options. So we give you the option there to create your own bespoke lists as you need them. So then you click save, and it will create that stock take on the stock take overview page in the back, and then the user would go and process that on the mobile, which you will see in a separate video. So thank you very much for watching this one, and see you on the next.